Good morning, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. So, as the preface to my Valentine's Day special that will be out at 10 o'clock, I figured I would share some updates to my romantic comedy TBR, the book review videos for the books that I have been reading since the middle of January for romantic comedies will be out at 10 and 11 respectively, but I wanted to also talk about the books that I'm currently reading that are romances. So beginning my list is Alaskan Holiday by Debbie Macomber. Lexi's mother recommended this romance author to me, and this is the second book of hers that I have read. So far, I really like her writing. This takes place at Alaska during Christmas time, so I wish I had discovered her books in December, so that way I could have had a more seasonal read, but I will add this to my reading list for next Christmas for sure. Right now, I am on page 160. The next book was recommended to me by Rachel Catherine. It's called Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. And I like the disability representation of Archer in this book because he is a deaf character who uses American Sign Language. I just started this book a few minutes ago and I'm on page 65, chapter 8. The next two books that I wanted to mention are classics that I was inspired to read from the episode of Friends. The one with Ross's Sandwich, where Phoebe and Rachel take the literature class at the new school. The first book is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Brontë. And I am currently on page... So this book is interesting because it is split up into two volumes. Yesterday I finished the first volume, and that landed me on page 312. But volume 2 starts off a whole different section of the book and starts back at page 1. So that's going to throw off my page count on Goodreads a little bit. So I have to do some calculations on how many pages I actually have left to read, so that way the page count on Goodreads can be accurate. But this book is very good so far. It's a romance set in 1847 England, so there's a lot of like old-time English language in here that I have a hard time getting adjusted to reading because I don't read a lot of classic books set in this time period. So I'm enjoying this book so far, and I'm also enjoying Wurthering Heights by Emily Brontë. I am on page 132. This book is set up a little bit strange because the chapters start off in the middle of the pages. It doesn't screw up my page count half as bad for Goodreads as Jane Eyre does, but it still confuses me a bit with the way the chapters are set up. But so far I am on page 132 in Wurthering Heights, and I think I have gotten to the part where Heathcliff and Heathcliff and Charlotte. So I think I'm just getting to the good part where Heathcliff and Charlotte are starting their relationship, and the build up to it has been very good. So I can't wait to read more of this, and I started it on Friday, and I should be done with it probably by tomorrow or Friday, or maybe even Saturday, I don't know. The next book is The Flatshare by Beth O'Leary. I can't remember if any of the booktubers I follow have talked about this book on their channels, but I know that a few people have talked about The No-Show, and so has my friend Kate. So I decided to check out this book because it's by the same author as The No-Show. And this book is, here's the description. After a bad breakup, Tiffy Moore needs a place to live, fast and cheap. Desperation makes her open-minded, so she answers an ad for a Flatshare. Leon, a night shift worker, will take the apartment during the day, and Tiffy can have it nights and weekends. He'll be there only when she's at the office. In fact, they'll never even have to meet. Of course, since they live together, sometimes they do need to share information. Tiffy and Leon start writing each other notes. First, about which day is garbage day, then politely establishing which leftovers are up for grabs, and debating the evergreen question of whether the toilet seat should stay up or down. Soon, they're sharing details of their lives, their work, their families, their romances. And it's amazing how much they learn about their flatmate just by sharing a space. Even though they are complete opposites, Tiffy and Leon soon become friends, and then maybe more. But falling in love through a roommate is probably a terrible idea, especially if you've never met. What happens when you finally bump into each other? A joyful, quirky, romantic comedy, The Flatshare is a feel-good novel about finding love in the most unexpected of places under the same roof. So this book is really cute so far. I'm really enjoying it. I am currently on chapter 27, page 127. Chapter 27, page 127, and the notes that Tiffy and Leon write to each other are actually pretty sweet, and I think I'm just getting to the good part where their relationship is starting to form. So I really enjoy this book so far. Finally, the last book in my current rom-com TBR list is These Violent Delights by Chole Gong. So this is another Romeo and Juliet retelling similar to One for My Enemy, but instead of being set in New York, this book is set in Shanghai, China in the 1920s, which is a very interesting concept because, like, you know, if you've read The Great Gatsby, you know that's set in New York in the 1920s. So it's very interesting to see the differences between The Great Gatsby and this book with the setting. So this is pretty similar to Cinder, the first book in the Lunar Chronicle series, because it's set in China, though instead of in Beijing. Wait, this book is set in Beijing or Shanghai? Yeah. So Cinder is set in Beijing, and this book is set in Shanghai. But the thing that is the same about these two books is that a disease breaks out, and I think the people who are the fighting families in this book are trying to find like the antidote to the disease, the vaccination to the disease. So yeah, this book is pretty good so far. I love Chole Gong's writing. It's very engaging. I am on page 112, chapter 11. So thank you for tuning in, and be sure to tune in at 10 and 11 for the part 1 and 2 of my Valentine's Day rom-com book review special. And for upcoming videos, I have a video about my Disney Princess TBR coming out on Saturday at 9 p.m. And then my monthly wrap-up for February will be on February 24th at 4. So have a great Valentine's Day, everybody.